Those into board gaming as a hobby are undoubtedly familiar with this game, Fury of Dracula. Based off of Bram Stoker's work Dracula, a book that I highly recommend that everybody reads, this game is a 2 to 5 player game in which one player plays as Count Dracula while the other 4 are attempting to hunt down and kill the Lord of Darkness. Very true to its source material, dripping with theme. It is a great game with great components, and it has been reprinted many times. Most recently by Fantasy Flight, who used the exact same cover for their printing. However, you'll notice that this time, it's been reprinted by Wizkids. Well, what's the difference? Well, I'm going to show you, and in this video I am not going to explain the rules themselves. Rather, I am going to assume that if you're watching this, you're already familiar with how to play Fury of Dracula, so instead I am just going to show you the similarities and the differences that this edition has to its predecessor. So before I go on, I would like to apologize if anything seems a little too dark or out of focus. But right off the bat, everything seems to be exactly the same as with the previous edition. The cards are exactly the same, the artwork is exactly the same, the rule books are exactly the same, with this one being the cover from the second printing. And I can't quite remember who the publisher was, but it's the exact same thing. Component-wise, these are great components. These little cardboard things right here, they are particularly good. These power cards, this thing right here, I like this. It's very demonic looking. I do enjoy that. The consecrated ground and the holy wafers, I believe these were called. The power cards. Yeah, actually, I had the previous copy and I lost this one. This one was my favorite one. So yes, I did get a whole new copy of the game just for this card. But you'll see why in a bit that it was a good investment nonetheless. So there are 5 of these power cards, but they are exactly the same as the previous one. And yes, this includes Hide, a power that I do not utilize well enough. So Vish, Andre, when we play again, I'm going to use and abuse this. So I keep losing to you guys, and I'm getting tired of it. But that's besides the point. The board itself is exactly the same. It's a massive looking board. Those new to board gaming should not be intimidated by this. It's reasonably complex. Once you get the hang of it, you'll breeze through it. It's a great game. And I cannot recommend this game enough. But now, that was the similarities. On to the differences. Those that have the previous edition, printed by Fantasy Flight, know what these are, but you might notice that there is a slight difference, and you're right, there is. The previous edition had the sheets that were incredibly thin, kind of like these cards right here. But in this edition, you hear that? That's cardboard. Nice thick cardboard for each piece, for each character. Again, the artwork and the powers are exactly the same, including this map right here, this mini map of Europe, also cardboard. It's a great component upgrade. I thoroughly enjoy it because then that means that these pieces are going to last for a long time. However, there is one minor component upgrade that really takes this copy up a notch that I thoroughly enjoy. These are the pieces that the players use to represent themselves on the board. From left to right, you have Abraham Van Helsing, Mina Harker, Dracula, John Seward, and Lord Godalming. In the previous edition, printed by Fantasy Flight, the pieces used, if I'm not mistaken, were the same pieces that were used in the second edition. These are different looking, and obviously they came pre-painted. If I could just focus, there we go. Now, granted that these aren't 100% perfect, you may notice a splotch of paint where it isn't supposed to be, but that is a nitpick. These pieces look a bit more dynamic than the previous edition, As you notice, they're all in kind of like a contrapposto style, which basically means that it's kind of like they're shifting weights. So it is a very, very nice addition. Here's Lord Godalming right here. I do like that weapon. It's very, very nice. It's a man bag. They pay some fairly good attention to detail, and I applaud WizKids for that. But by far my favorite piece is the Lord of Darkness right here. In Fantasy Flight's printing, Dracula was more proud, I guess you could say, chest up high, as if he's singing in an opera, I am the Lord of Darkness. And it shows in that piece. But in this printing, he seems to be more afraid. I mean, just look at this. Having read the book and obviously knowing how it ends, it would make sense that Dracula would be a bit more intimidated by these people. These are the same people that killed him 8 years ago. So yeah, it would make sense that this piece would be more... what's the word I'm looking for here? It looks like he's trying to be a bit more subtle. He's scared, and it shows in this piece, and I thoroughly enjoyed this. Characters are more dynamic, great components, fantastic game, and I cannot recommend this game enough. But the question here is that if you have the Fantasy Flight printing, should you get this one? And the answer is no. If you got it, you got it, and you should be happy with that. I only got it because of that wolf card that I lost. And I'm one of those people that I need every single component for a game. I'm just that petty. But if you have never played Fury of Dracula before, this is the printing that you will want, the WizKids one. Because the pre-painted components, the thick card, cardboard sheets. It's a fantastic game with great components, excellent theme. I thoroughly enjoyed this game. Fury of Dracula, definitely check this out.